Okay, so we're starting to record this video, as I mentioned, so we can use it for other team members along the way. Now, what we're going to do, um, Hassan, is we're going to go over the introduction of what we do at our company and what is task, so you get familiar to. Can you hear me?
Have some internet issue.
Okay.
Okay, okay, that's okay.
Okay, just
Okay
let me
now.
know whenever it's not that good, so we can fix it. Okay. As I was
Okay, okay.
we go over an introduction of what the company does. We'll go over the basics of what we do, and then we'll go into the more detailed training session by session, so that at the end of the day, you get to know our work and everything. Okay. So to start with, what our company does, I don't know if you've checked our website before, but this is our website, and what we do is we are a trucking company. Okay,
Yes.
we are a trucking company that works with the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles. So we don't go like we don't do moves that are just trailers or anything. We just work specifically with moving containers, ocean containers, from the
Okay.
to the customers. Okay, so what
Okay.
will happen is, for example, um, a freight forwarder will order a shipment, right? Let's say they order 200 boxes of soda. Okay, that these are going to come from China, for example. Most of the containers that come to the port come from East Asia. Okay, so
Okay.
they'll order what we call Hassan. I have a question. I don't know why the connection. I see my. Is it my connection or is it your connection? Do you feel it too?
Mhm.
Do you feel it?
I think my connection is bad. I'm
Okay.
not sure about it.
How about you? Let's disconnect your video. Like turn your video off and let's see if it gets any better. It might not. But
Okay.
let's see if this helps. Hopefully it will. If not, then we'll just continue the way it is. Okay. Um,
Okay.
is your internet connection in general good in Bangladesh or how is it?
No, no. In general, this is very good. Now some problem in happening
There's some
recently.
with your connection specifically.
Yes, my connection specifically. I can upgrade my network system or speed.
Okay, so you might want to fix that. And you know what? The video, removing the video did not help. So you can add back your video.
Okay, sure.
But try to figure out what was the issue so we can fix it down the road, okay?
Okay, sure. I will fix this next time.
Because you do need good connection to connect to the software and everything that we have, and make sure that you're not slowed down because of internet, okay?
Yes, yes, I understand.
Yeah, so I was telling you, we when you order something from China, let's say a freight forwarding company orders something from China, let's say Coca-Cola, they need to bring a container full of Coke from China to the US, right? That is considered an import shipment to the United States, right? That's going to come from China from here. So what happens is that a freight forwarder will actually go and book different parts of this transaction or this chain from the time that it gets loaded in China all the way that it comes and delivers to the Coca-Cola facility somewhere here in California or in the US. Okay. So there's different parts that are involved. The first part of it is an ocean carrier, right? Do you know the shipping?
Yes.
I don't know if you do, but those shipping lines, for example, is called Maersk, right? It's called.
Yes, I know, I know.
Okay, good. Maersk, Hanjin, Hapag-Lloyd, all of these are big
Yes.
shipping lines that will load those containers onto the ships and bring them from China all the way to here to the US, right? Now, when they get to the port, which is one of the biggest ports in the country, in the world, is the port of Long Beach and Los Angeles. So what happens is that a trucking company, a licensed, registered trucking company,
Okay.
needs to send licensed truck drivers, registered truck drivers that have access to the port to go inside the port, grab the container,
Yes.
bring it out of the port, deliver it to the customer anywhere in the United States or in California in general, etc., and then take the container back to the port. Okay. Why do we
Okay.
take it back to the port? Because these containers do not belong to us. These are the shipping lines containers. So the owner of these containers is shipping line. That's why on all these big containers has a name of the shipping line. It says Hanjin, it says Maersk, it says etc. Right? So our job is this part of the work, the trucking side of the work. We go to the port, we grab the container, we deliver it somewhere in California or somewhere in the country, and then we return the empty back to the port. Understood?
Okay. Yes, I understand.
We're going to learn with this is also called drayage. So here you see on our website it says drayage, right? This we call it also drayage. Drayage means port trucking container movement. Okay.
Okay.
So we have different types of trucking. For example, some trucking companies that are not port drayage companies go and pick up, for example, 2 boxes from this facility, then they go to another facility, pick 2 boxes, and then they go to another facility. That's not what we do. We deliver full ocean containers without opening them. Like we have no access to the cargo inside of it. All we do is we pick them up, go them to the customer, and bring them back. Okay.
Okay.
The only 2 ports that we work with is the Port of Long Beach and Port of Los Angeles. They're side by side by each other, right? So if I show you a map of the port, I don't know if it was in the carrier package I shared with you, but I'll show you. Let me see if I can get you a picture real quick. That includes the port of, so here we go. Can you see this?
Yes. I can
Okay,
see
so
it.
this is, for example, Port of Long Beach and Los Angeles, right?
Yes.
What this is showing is, you see this is water, right? This is water, and then this is land, right? And then here we have this yellow one called Port of Long Beach, and this is Port of Los Angeles. As you can see, they're right by each other. Right by each other. They're close to each other, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just that some of the, now the port is the entire thing. Inside of these ports, there are terminals that help with the operation, right? So
Okay.
let's say you have an airport, right? Let's say
Yes.
a big airport in Bangladesh. What is it called? What is the name?
Yeah. This is airport. The name of the airport is Shahjalal International Airport.
Here we go. So that airport, when you go inside of it, you're going to see different terminals: Terminal A, Terminal B, Terminal C,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
this is exactly that. The ones that operate are the terminals. So each of the ports has different terminals in it. So you see Port of Long Beach shows Hanjin Terminal, MSC Terminal, Matson Terminal, OC, and etc., right? And then Port of LA also includes different terminals. These are the shipping lines they put here, not the terminals. It's showing which shipping line goes to which terminal. Let me show you a better picture, because this is, I want one with that shows the name of the terminals. And as I said, I don't know if it if I have it. Let's see. Let's try this one. It's not a visible picture, right? It's too small. Okay, let me try finding something else. Let's see this one. Yeah, this is it. It's a little bit small for you probably, but I want you to go ahead and search this after our conversation, and you'll see. For example, different terminals are showing like for different ports. I'll send you on the carrier package. You would know that what are the terminal names and etc. Right? So the whole concept that I wanted you to know at this point is the fact that we have 2 ports, Port of Long Beach, Port of Los Angeles, and each of these, yeah, this is a better picture, I think. Okay, So it has the name of the terminals. You see these ones that are on top, these ones, the red ones, is the name of the terminal. So YTI, TraPac, WBCT, APM, PTI, LBCT, ITS, PCT. These are the name of the terminals. Now, when the containers come into, that are planning to come into the port of Long Beach or Los Angeles, they kind of know where they're going to land, where they're going to go to, which terminal they're going to go. Just like when you have when an airplane takes off, it already knows where it's going to land, which airport it's going to land. It's the same thing for ocean containers too. When you actually take off China, for example, you already know which terminal you're going to go to. So we know the shipping line. We already know because the freight forwarder booked this specific shipping line. Let's say you want to book a ticket, right? When you want to book a ticket for airplane, you actually need to tell yourself, am I going to use Qatar Airways, Turkish Airways? Am I going to use, I don't know, Bangladesh Airlines? Which airline am I going to use, right? And then that would be the shipping line. And then you look at different prices. You look at the date and times the planes are available. You look at the different services they provide, and then you choose one airline, or you choose one shipping line in this case. But once the shipping line is booked, we already know they're going to come to one of these terminals, which we would know in something that we call availability check. I'll tell you how we can get all this information, how we can know that container is going to which of these terminals. And then when we go to the website for that terminal, we'll get the information for that container, all of the information we need. When is it coming? What's the size? What's the details? We'll get all of that information by going into one of those terminals that we know it's going to go to and getting that information. You got it?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Now, the container can go to any terminal, right? From any shipping line. But some terminals are more common for some shipping lines in general, right? So for example, if it's Houston line, Houston Logistics shipping line, it normally goes to YTI terminal here, right? But that's not necessarily the case, right? If it's, for example, let's say an OOCL shipping line, it normally goes to LBCT terminal, but that's not always the case. So normally the owners of these terminals are the shipping lines. Like the shipping lines have bought one, for example, for themselves, right?
Okay.
Not necessarily the case for all of them. I'm just saying that's why some of these terminals are the main hub for some of the shipping lines. Okay. I don't know if this picture is visible. For example, it says LBCT and it shows the shipping lines that go to it. You see underneath it, it says OOCL, right? And then here on YTI, you also see OOCL, meaning that OOCL containers also go to YTI. That's why I'm telling you, it's not necessary. Like we can't say all of this shipping line goes to this one terminal. No, they go to different terminals based on different situations. Okay. So we now know there's 2 ports. We now know there's several terminals, right? I think 13 terminals at the moment.
Okay.
For both ports of Los Angeles. The containers will come to the terminal. The terminal will empty the ship, right? And then it will put it in different stacks, right? For example, they would put the container in a stack called B12, somewhere in the terminal. And then when the driver goes to the port, that the terminal knows this container is in stack B12, right? And then they will direct the driver to the location. Okay. Now, this is the port of Long Beach. I would also like to show you how a truck and a container looks like. Okay. So this is a very simple picture of an ocean container, right? This is a simple picture of an ocean container, right? So it's the doors on the back. So it's a container that opens from these doors and it has different information on it. For example, you see here, it has the container number on it. And what is the container number? How is the container number formed? It starts with 4 letters always, and 7 digits, 7 numbers after that. For example, what's the container number here? It's TRLU 7180663. So 4 letters and 7 digits after that. That's always how a container number.
There is 6 digit, I think. 7180666.
No, it's you have to count.
Is there 6?
Two. The 3 is included too. Yeah.
Okay.
The containers, they show the last number, they show it like that, but it's included. There's no difference. You see, for example, this is another one. You see how they put the 2, but the 2 is also included. What's the container number here?
610024.
The container number is the entire thing. You have to read the letters and then the 7 digits.
Okay. Then that will be TCLU 6100242.
Exactly. So whenever somebody tells you what's the container number, this is how you see a container number.
Okay.
Okay. So, and this is how a normal container would look like. Now we have different types and sizes for containers, which you can go Google it on your own and look at it. But I'll show you some. So the most common ones, let me see if I can find you a good picture that I can share with you. Let's see which one this is. Yeah, this is actually a good picture. So we have different containers. Like we have different sizes, and then we have different types of containers. Okay. The different sizes of containers, or let's start with different types of containers. We have regular containers, which are referred to as dry containers. Dry containers. So whenever they say this is a dry container, that means this is a very normal, regular cubic container, right? It doesn't have anything special. It has a floor it's a wooden floor, metal door, top and metal walls, and doors that open it on one side, and that is a container, right?
Okay.
They have different sizes and different heights, right? But if we count as type, another container is a refrigerated container. Refrigerated container is the same container, but it's a reefer. It's like it has to keep the temperature the same, right? So they use it to move perishable goods like fish or whatever that needs to be See, this is a reefer container. This is a reefer container, for example. What's different on a reefer containers is that it has generator in it. It has the cooling system built into it, and it's used to move frozen cargo. Okay. For example, if you want to bring shrimp from somewhere like China, then you need to keep it cool. So they put it into these they have the generator coming, and it can be moved in 2 ways. Number one, it can be used as plug-in, like you plug the entire container to the electricity, which when they put all these reefer containers on the ocean, on the ship, they actually plug it in. Okay. Or you can generate the electricity through generators. That is called genset, which is generator set. Genset. So the genset, which is this part of it, you see this part, is the part that creates electricity in case the container is not plugged in. So if the temperature has to be 0 degrees, the genset will keep it 0. Let's say the container comes here to the port. Our truck driver goes to the port, wants to grab it and take it 2.5 hours to deliver it to the customer, right? Within that drive time, the container needs to be kept cool so the fish doesn't go bad. Okay, so they'll put it there until the port it's plugged in. But from when we take care of it, we take it to the customer, it's going to run with the genset to keep it. So this is a different type of container. We also have other types of containers, such as open containers, open top containers. Open top container, you see the top is open. Like everything is metal, but the top is open. This is less used. The most we use is dry containers, the regular containers you saw on top. Then it's refrigerated containers. The least we use, and we don't do so many of them, is open top containers. Why is it open? Sometimes there's big machines, tall machines, something that's bigger than a container. They put it in open containers so that it fits into a container. So they open the top, they put it there, and then they leave the top open. And if you see, they covered it, but it's not metal. So it's like it's something sheet that covers it. Sometimes they can't even cover it because it's bigger than normal, right? So there's different types of containers, right? Now we also have different size of containers, which the most, let's say this, if this picture is a good picture. Yeah, the most common containers are 20-foot containers, 40-foot containers, and 45-foot containers. Okay. These are the most common containers: 20-foot containers, 40-foot containers, and 45. The 45 we don't use that much, right? So the most common ones that we use are 20-foot containers and 40-foot containers. Two sizes. Also shown here, you see? They also show a 10-foot, but we don't use 10-foot containers. It's more 40-foot, and it's the length of the container. Okay.
Okay.
It's because some people want to book a container that doesn't need to be that big. Okay, so they use a 20-foot container. Sometimes it's a 40-foot container. And the main two heights are either a standard height, okay, or a high cube. They call it high cube. The high cube is a little bit taller than a regular container, right?
Right.
Let's see if I can get you a picture that compares the two. Here. This is a regular standard height, which is 8'6". Okay. This is a high cube container, which is 9'6". It's a foot taller. So if people have to book it because their cargo is taller, they'll book a container. Okay. So to give you a recap of what we just discussed, we talked about different types of containers. If somebody asks you, what type of containers do we have? You're going to say we have dry container, which is regular container used to move cargo. We have refrigerated container, which is used to move refrigerated cargo. And we have, for example, open top containers, which doesn't have the top. If they tell you what size of containers we have, you're going to say, okay, well, we have 20-foot containers, we have 40-foot containers, and we have 45-foot containers, which 45-foot is less common. It's mainly 40-foot and 40. And they do have different heights. For 40-foot containers, we have the standard height, which is 8'6", and we have the high cube, which is 9'6". So if somebody tells you, oh, this container is high cube, that means it's the taller one. It's the 9'6". Okay.
Okay.
This is the different sizes. Do you have any questions on the containers itself?
No, I clearly understand this.
Beautiful. So I'm gonna go over the trucks and let's do that.
Hey Adi, can I get this video for me to recap this?
I'll share the video with you for sure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. We are recording it, right? I did. Does it show it's being recorded on your end?
Yes, I showed this.
It's showing recorded? Okay, so let me go over a truck. and chassis. Okay, now let's talk about a truck, right? So this is how a truck looks like, kind of, depending on what the truck is. So you see this truck, is it visible?
Yes.
So this is the head of the truck, which is called the truck, okay? And then it has one tire and a second tire here. You see that?
Yes.
So this is a truck. This is the container, and this is the chassis. So this is the truck, this is the container, and this is the chassis. The chassis is what is used to put the container on it so that the truck can pull the container, right?
Okay. Right.
So what the truck does when he goes to the port, the first thing that the truck does when he gets to the port is he finds a chassis. At the terminal, there's chassis. So he finds a chassis at the terminal. He first hooks to the chassis. We call it hook because it goes and it hooks to, you see here? Here?
Yes. I'm seeing this.
To the chassis. So it hooks to the chassis, and then with the chassis, it moves to the block that they have the container. And then the crane, there's cranes inside the terminal. They pull the container, and then they put the container onto his chassis. So for a truck to be able to pull and move a container, he first needs a chassis, right?
These chassis have different size or different?
The chassis has different size too. For 20-foot chassis, you need a 20-foot chassis. For 40-foot containers, you need a 40-foot chassis. It has to be the same size of the container. For 45-foot container, you need a 45-foot chassis. But this is what a chassis looks like. So if I were to show you another picture, let's say, you see, let's say this is a very simple picture that shows, you see this? This is the truck, this is the container, and this is the chassis.
Okay.
Okay? The driver needs to hook to this chassis first at the port, then put the container on it, right? Without the chassis, we cannot pull the containers. Let's see if we can have. You see this? This is a chassis. This is how a terminal chassis looks like. There are different types of chassis too, but this is normally how they look like, okay?
Okay.
You see it has the tires that moves it, has lights at the end, it has mud flap, and then it goes, and in the front, here in the front, it connects to the truck. So it goes over the tires of the truck and it trucks to the, and then it moves it, okay?
Okay.
We do have different types of chassis too, which is different sizes and also different types. The main two types of chassis are regular chassis and something called a triaxle chassis. Triaxle chassis, so this is a regular chassis, right?
Okay.
And this is a triaxle chassis. The triaxle chassis is when instead of 2 rows of tires, it has 3. Because it's like the weight is too much that they have to use here. The weight is too much that they need 3 rows of tires to balance the weight, right? So it's called a triaxle, meaning 3 axle. So each of these is an axle, right? 1 axle, 2 axle, 3 axle, right? A triaxle, instead of 2 sets of tires like this one, right? Instead of 2 sets of tires, it needs 3 sets because to balance the weight so it doesn't break in the middle. That's when your container is so heavy that they call it a triaxle chassis. Triaxle chassis are normally used on 20-foot containers that are overweight. Now I will advise down the road what weight for a container is legal and what is not, right?
Okay.
And when we say legal weight, we're talking about the cargo weight, the cargo inside the port. But this is generally what a chassis looks like. So if I were to give you a recap, we talked about the ports, that we have 2 ports. We talked about the terminals that are inside each of these ports and operate and manage the operation of the terminals. Each of these terminals have a website, which I shared with you in that package. For example, YTI has one, and etc. We need to know how to work with the websites of each of these terminals. We have to make appointments through these terminal websites. We have to check availability of the container through these websites. We have to pull information on that specific container. For example, somebody tells you, Hassan, when is the container coming to the port? You go to the specific terminal that the container is coming to, you punch in the container number and you get the information. It tells you the container is coming in 10 days. And you say in 10 days. So all the information we need, we get it from the terminals website. So we have to learn how to work with these websites. Then we talked about the containers, that the different type of containers. We also talked about different size of containers. Then we said, this is how the truck looks like. And lastly, we just talked about chassis. We said that the driver, in order to pull a container, he needs a chassis to put the container on it. Where does he get the chassis from? 99% of the time, they get the chassis from the port. So when the driver goes to the port, let me explain this to you. The driver is with his truck, right? He has his truck, he's sitting inside the truck. Now he goes to the port. Who tells him where to go? We do. Our team, our dispatcher tells him, okay, this is your container number. This is the size of your container. Like for example, 40 foot, high cube. Then we tell him this is your terminal name, YTI. Okay, so he goes in line at YTI terminal, right? And he goes in line with other truck drivers. Okay, let me see if I can find the terminal. A picture of the line at the terminal, if I can find a good one. So see, this is the line. I don't know if you see it visibly, but this is, for example, a line that they're waiting to get inside the terminal. It's not visible, is it? Oh, here we go. You see there's different lines?
Yes, I'm seeing this.
So these are the trucks waiting in line to get inside YTI terminal with the information that we have provided them. Okay? They wait in line until they get to these boxes. These boxes are called terminal speakers. Okay? They press a button and somebody inside the office will answer and say, why are you here? What do you want? And he says, I want container TRLU XYZ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just an example, right? He says, okay, no problem. This is your ticket. Okay, they give him a ticket that he goes and uses that ticket to know where to go. Then he goes to a chassis pit. We call it a chassis pit to get chassis, right? He goes to a terminal to get the chassis. Once he gets the chassis, then he goes to the specific block that the container is located and is mentioned on his ticket. You remember I talked about the ticket? It's mentioned. Yes. And at that block, the cranes will put the container on him. Look at this. You see these cranes? This is the crane. These are the cranes that will grab the containers from here and put it onto the trucks. Put it onto the trucks. Okay, so this is how they put it. So they just have to go to their designated block and the cranes will put the containers on their chassis. But that's after they have gotten the chassis. Okay. Now, sometimes, in most cases, we get the chassis from the terminals. Sometimes we already have a chassis in the yard, in our company yard, that we tell the driver, this is your information. This is your container number. This is your terminal. This is your etc. But we have a chassis for you in the yard. The chassis name is AMCZ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, for example. Okay, go grab it and take it to the terminal and get the container. So it depends where we get the chassis from, but normally we get it from the port. Okay. Do you have any questions so far?
Oh, I don't have any question.
You don't have any questions. Okay. At any point, if you had any questions, please let me know. These are the cranes. You see the cranes? Some of them are huge. You see this?
Yes, I can see this.
You can also Google any of these for you see all these. Look at this: cranes, Houston terminal, shipping containers, container island, Los Angeles. So any of those questions that you have, you can go and Google it to just get the bigger picture of what you want. Okay. Okay. Once the truck comes out of the port, he starts delivering the container to different cities that we deliver to. He already has all the information. We have told him, you're going to pick up the container from terminal YTI. You're going to deliver it to this city. Now, let me open the carrier package that I shared with you real quick. Oh, here we go. This is the training package that I shared with you. Okay, so in here, in the training packet, which I gave you and I will give anybody else that is doing the training, it has the name of the terminals. You see here we have the terminals on the first tab, then the shipping line, then etc. Right? On the name of the terminal, why is there 4? Because these terminals have had different names throughout the years. So different drivers might know them with different names. But I put all of the names, okay? So for example, for YTI, which is the terminal that I call, some people also call it Houston, some call it Pier 214 in my case. You just need to know the YTI. Then on here, we have the address of the terminal. You don't need it, but if a driver asks you what's the address, you can give them the address. This is the phone number. This is the website that's for general information. So there's 2 websites. And this is the website for terminal appointments. You remember I told you, we can't just go to the terminal, grab a container and leave. That's not how it works. We have to get an appointment from each of these terminals. We have to get an appointment. Like you go in the website and there's different time slots. Okay, you punch in the container number, you put the container number, and you say, okay, what appointments are available for tomorrow? And then it shows one for tomorrow at 10 a.m., one at 2 p.m., one at 3, and then you choose which one you want, and then they'll give you that appointment slot. Your driver has to go to the port within that time frame. A little bit before, a little bit after. They give you a grace period as well. So he goes to the terminal and they'll give him the container in that. So for each terminal, I provided 2 websites. One is for general information and one is for getting the terminal appointments, right?
Okay.
For example, this is the website for YTI terminal. Let me see if I can grab it. Well, I don't want to go, I won't go over the terminals right now because that might get you confused. I just want you to get a general idea in this very first video. Okay. But also it says PIN number here. Okay. When the driver goes to the speaker, they ask him for the container number. They ask him for a PIN number. The PIN number is kind of like a password to know that you're supposed to pick this up, not just anybody. And we get the PIN number from different places. Sometimes when you book an appointment on the website, it gives you an appointment number that's the one that you need to get that container. Sometimes it's the last 4 digits of something called the master bill of lading number, which is a form document that they use to book the container, and they provide that. I'll show you a master bill of lading number or delivery order later on. But so so I want you to get familiar with these terminal names, right? ETS or Everport, right? Have different websites. For example, this is the website for ETS and so forth, right? PCT is a different term, another terminal. Pier A is another terminal. And I put other information here that you might not need at this stage, but we'll work with them down the road, okay? Trade packet terminal, WBCT terminal, APM terminal, ITS terminal, FMS terminal, TTI terminal, and their website is already here. LBCT, Pier E, Matson, shipper transport, and etc. We also have on the second tab, I put the shipping lines. You remember I said we have different shipping lines. So we have Maersk, MSC, CMA, China, Costco, Hapag-Lloyd, APL, ONE, or they normally abbreviate these. Okay, Yangming, Evergreen, PIL, Wanhai, Zimline, Hamburg Sud, Hapag-Lloyd, Hyundai, OCL. These also have websites that we can use, and we will learn how to use them. It's very easy. If you go on OCL, like for example, just punch in OCL, the website will come up here. As easy as that. And then you can search the website just to see what informations there are. You can do the same with the terminal websites as well, just to know them. You know, they have sailing schedule here. They have tracking. For example, if you put a container number here, they also give you information, okay, on the container, that number and etc. Okay. So this is what I was explaining on the training package, that we have different shipping lines, we have different terminals. And the rest of them we don't need to worry about right now. Okay. Now, I think you did understand the general concept of how everything works, right?
Yes, I understand.
What I want you to do in the next step is to go actually log into the different terminals. Okay. Like open each of the terminals and actually see what the general information in each of these terminals is, and how we can actually get information, the information that we need from each of them. Now, before we wrap up this set of training, I would also like to show you one other concept that's very, let's say, I would like to show you a document called a delivery order, right? Delivery order is the document that the customer gives to us that has all the information. So this is how the process works, right? The process works this way. A customer comes to us and says, okay, I want to move these containers from this city to this city, right?
Okay.
And then we say, okay, no problem. Please see our below rate, right? So we give them a rate.
Okay.
1 second, sorry. So we give them a rate, and then they say, okay, your rate is accepted. Okay, so we say, okay, I have this container, we want to move it to the city, Ontario, in California. Then we say, okay, this is our rate. They say, okay, your rate is accepted. And then we say, okay, what is the ETA of your shipment? ETA means expected time of arrival, meaning that is it coming to the port today? Is it coming in 1 week? And etc. We look at our capacity. Like we have, let's say 30 trucks, 40 trucks. We have to make sure that we accept enough moves that our drivers are busy, but not overbooked, right? So we check for the ETA and information of the container, and then we say, okay, we do have capacity for your container. So we first agree on the rate, right?
Okay.
Then we agree on the capacity, and we say, okay, we do have capacity. Then we ask them to please send the delivery order. The delivery order is the document that includes all the details into it, right? So let me show you. You see here, it says, good day. Please confirm the receipt of the attached DO or delivery order.
Okay.
So they sent us a delivery order here, and I'll go over what a delivery order includes. It has the name of the company, right? And each delivery order is a little bit different with another one, but they have the same information included in them, the most common ones, okay? What I need on the delivery order that is most important are, for example, the container number. That's the most important thing. I want to know the container number. What is it?
Container number.
Right. What is it? Can you read it to me?
Oh, this is CMAU in 9226396.
That is correct. So basically, your container number includes the 4 letters and then the 7 digits after that, right? Then they advise the type of containers. You see, it says 40-foot HC. What does HC stand for?
I don't know.
High cube. You remember? So we know it's 40-foot and then it's high cube. So it's the taller one and 40-foot. However, it's best to get the information that we need from the terminal itself, because sometimes your customer might put the wrong size and you don't want to make a mistake, right? So we normally get the size of the container from the terminal that it's located at. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we have the container number, we have the size, and then we go to the rest of it. Now look at this. It says instruction details. Okay.
Okay.
Instruction detail. It gives you the name of the terminal, Phoenix Marine Terminal, right? So if I go to my training packet and I try to look Phoenix Marine Terminal, this is it, FMS, Phoenix Marine Services, right? So now I know what website I have to go to get the general information, what website I have to go to get the appointments,
Okay.
right? So I'll go back to the delivery order, but I'll show you how to find the terminal yourself so that there's no mistakes. Okay. Some of the information we can only get from the delivery order. Some of them we can get it ourselves from the terminal. So if the customer has made a mistake, we don't fall for the mistake, right?
Right.
Well, for the size, I don't need to know what they put. I'm going to put this container number in the terminal website and I'm going to get the size that is 100% accurate. So you know what I mean? Okay. And then it says, so it's giving us the instruction details, right? It says, pick it up from FMS, deliver it to TLC distribution. This is the address, 13003 Slover Avenue, Fontana, California. That's the name of the city, right? So let's say I go on Google Map and I want to know where it's going from to where, right? So it says, I put here Phoenix Marine, you see here, the terminal, and here it goes to a city called Fontana, California. And Google Maps is going to show me this. So this is the route your truck is going to take, right? It's going to go from Phoenix Marine all the way, this freeway, number 10 freeway, and it's going to get to Fontana, right? It's 1 hour and 22 minutes, 70 miles. Understood? So he has to go here, deliver the container, pick it up, and return it, right? Now, let me add something here as well that is important. You have two types of deliveries. When your driver delivers the container here, they sometimes empty the cargo right there and then, meaning that your container goes there, the guy says, oh, okay, come here, come to this door, and then we'll empty it right now. They take about 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, they unload the cargo, and then they say, you take the container. And then he comes back and he takes the container empty back to the port, right? Sometimes they say we don't have enough people to help unload it right now. Drop the container. So what he does is that he leaves the container and the chassis there, and he comes back. And then we have to, when they empty the container 1 day, 2 days after, we go and we get the container that is empty and we come back.
Okay.
The first one is called live unload or live load. Live, it's a live thing, right? The second one is called drop and pick, meaning you drop it now and then you pick it up later. So drop and pick. So therefore we have two types of shipments, live unload and drop and pick. Any questions?
No.
Okay. So they gave us the pickup location, they gave us the delivery location, they gave us the container number. And you remember I talked about a master bill? This master bill is the general number for this entire shipment, right? That when they put it, they give you the whole information, right? Some of the terminals, that password that your driver needs at the speaker is the last 4 digits of the master bill that we have to provide to the driver. Like for example, in this case, 0380. And some terminals, they go by appointment number. Okay, but in general, I just want, and it also has the weight. Do you see the weight? It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 kilogram, or sometimes it's in pound. This is the cargo weight. It's the weight of the cargo inside the container.
Okay.
Okay, and we need to pay attention to this one to make sure our cargo weight is not illegal. It's not more than what it needs to be, and so it's not overweight. Okay, so general delivery order. So if somebody tells you, oh, I need the DO, then you need the DO. Okay.
Okay.
This is how it looks like. Now, everything that we talked about so far is import shipment and import, meaning the cargo is already coming here, we unload it and we return the empty container. We also have export shipments, which is exactly the opposite, no confusion. An empty container is taken to the customer, it gets loaded with cargo, and then we return the full container back to the port, right? It's an export.
Right.
It's going out of the US to China. So we take an empty container. Where do we take the empty container from?
From the, can you repeat the question?
Where do we get the empty container from for an export shipment?
I'm not sure about that.
Do you understand my question?
No, can you repeat that question? Then can you repeat?
Yeah, no problem. See, I told you we have two types of shipments. What are they?
The live
Import? No. Import shipments and export.
export shipment.
Import is when the cargo is coming from another country like China to here. You're bringing 200 boxes of Coca-Cola to the United States and then delivering it to some city in California or whatever, right? This is import. Export is when cargo is going from US to China. We're sending 200 boxes of Coca-Cola from California to China. So what you do is you take the empty container, right? The container is now empty.
Empty.
Let's say Fontana, just an example, to Fontana. They put cargo in the container. They put those 200 boxes of Coca-Cola in the container. We take the full container to the port.
Okay.
That's called what?
That's called export.
Exactly. Export is the opposite of import. Okay. In import, bring cargo to the US. In export, we send cargo. Now, where do we get the empty? For export, we need an empty container. Where do we get the empty container from? We get it from the terminal itself. So for import, your driver would go to the port, grab a chassis, right? And then go and get a full container, a load, cargo inside, and take it to the customer, unload, bring the empty, return. In export, your driver goes to the port, he gets a chassis, and he will get an empty container, a container that's empty.
Empty.
The empty container to the customer, they put cargo in it, called loading, they load the container, and then you take the container back to the port.
Terminal or port.
So an import and export are the opposite, but this is what a delivery order is called, okay?
Okay.
On the export shipment, when they send you the work order, instead of delivery order, it's called a work order, okay? Now, I might be giving you too much information, but it's okay. We have this recorded, so I'm gonna give you the information, then I want you to go and you repeat it and you remind yourself what is this, what is that, and you search each one so you know what it's talking about, right? But I want to cover the basics here so that we have all the basic information. So this delivery order is for import shipments, right?
Yes.
It has the container number on it, right? For exports, it's called a work order or booking order, okay? A work order or booking order. And it does not have a container. When they send you the confirmation, it doesn't have a container number. Instead, it has a booking number, okay?
Okay.
Why does it not have a container number? Why do you think there is no booking number, no container number on an export order when the customer sends us?
Because we don't have a fixed container.
Beautiful. Exactly. You don't have a container number.
Okay.
You have to still go get the container from the port. But they give you a booking number. It's like when you book a flight, they give you a booking number, right? That's that says you're having a flight at 10 p.m. from California to Bangladesh, for example.
Yes.
But do you have a seat number? No. They just have a booking number that says this is your flight and you're going to go at 10 p.m. on this date from California to Bangladesh. Okay?
Okay.
Same goes with the shipping line. If I am the freight forwarder, the person who has to book this shipment from California going to China, I'm going to choose one of the shipping lines, right? The guy is going to choose a shipping line. Let's say they choose OOCL. Then they're going to book a vessel, a ship. Just like they have to book a vessel. It says this vessel is going to leave California in 10 days. Okay? So
Okay.
shipping line, the guy has a shipping line and he has a vessel, a ship that knows it's going to leave on this date, but he doesn't have a container number. Okay. But in that booking, there's a specific size and there's a specific type. Okay. There's a specific size and a specific type. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means that he booked one container or two container or three container or 10 containers with this booking number, but they're 40 foot because he already knows how big he needs a container, right? So when he gives you the confirmation number, the booking number, when the customer gives us on the booking confirmation, we know the shipping line because he already told us. We know the booking number because he told us. And we know the size of container because he said it could be 5 40 foot, 2 20 foot. Doesn't matter, right? So that means it was 7 new containers under the booking, which 5 of them are for export 40 foot, 2 of them are for export 20 foot. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Then we give that booking confirmation to our driver with the size and everything. He goes to the port. Instead of giving the container number, he's going to give them the
Booking number.
exactly. And he's going to give the size. He's going to get the chassis. He's going to put the container empty on the chassis, go to the customer, get loaded, return it back to the port. Any questions?
Oh.
Let me see if I can show you a work order that's an export real quick. These are very easy topics. It's just that because it might be new to you, it might be too much information, but it's very, once you start doing it, once you actually start doing it, it becomes very easy. I'm trying to find you an export. Oh, here we go. I lost it. Okay, this is, for example, an export delivery order. Let's see. Nothing. Okay, here we go. So this is an export. See how it says? It gives you a size, right? It says, please load 140 foot high cube, right? So it says the size is 40 foot and it's a high cube. It's the taller one, right? It also gives you the address where you have to load. You see, it says loading where DSC Logistics. This is the address. City is San Bernardino, and this is the zip code, right? The zip code is this, okay? And here it says pick up the empty container, right? At this terminal, USEN terminal. And it says return the loaded to USEN terminal as well. So it's giving you all the information. It says you pick up the empty container from USEN terminal, you load it in San Bernardino at this address, DSC Logistics, and you return the load back to this terminal again, right? Now we go down, let's see what other information it gives us. It gives us, this is a reference number. This is the weight, you see, in kilogram. It's 18,000 kilogram. What else? This is the booking number. You see this? DALA.
Yes.
It is booking number. And it gives some dates too, but there is no container number, you see, because you don't have a container. You have to use the booking number with the size. You tell your driver, this is my booking number. This is 40-foot high cube container. You go to YTI terminal or USEN terminal. You pick it up, you take it to San Bernardino, you load it, and you bring it back to the port. Okay?
Okay.
This piece of information I want to give for export is that when you want to bring the container back to the port, you can't just return the loaded container or the full container any day you like. It's not like that. You need to return it specific days, right? Because their ship is going to leave on a certain date to China. So it's like when you get a plane, you can't go to the airport 5 days before. Your plane, your airplane is leaving on 20th of June. You can't go 10th of June because your plane is 20th of June. You have to go before your ticket, but like 2 hours before, 3 hours before. Same goes with the ship. You can't go and give them the container 10 days before the vessel is going to leave. Why? Because then they're going to have too many containers in their ship terminal space, and they're not going to have enough space for their containers, right?
Yes.
For export shipments, you have a time frame to bring the loaded container to the port. They tell us, right? This time frame is between an ERD, okay, ERD, earliest receiving date, earliest receiving
date,
and a cutoff, CUTOFF. So you can return that, export that loaded container between ERD and cutoff. Normally there's 2-3 days in between. So they give you normally 2 to 3 days between the ERD and cutoff to return the container. Okay. And it's normally very close to when the vessel is going to actually leave to China, isn't right?
Right.
For example, normally we have to check the shipping line and terminal for the ERD and cutoff, right? But normally, if the vessel is going to leave on 20th of June, the ERD is 16th of June and the cutoff is 18th of June. So it can have all the containers by 20th of June that it wants to leave.
Okay. Can you please explain the cutoff again?
Excuse me?
Can you please explain the cutoff again?
Sure. So I said you can return the full container in a time frame, in a time range, right? Dates based on an ERD and a cutoff. ERD is earliest receiving. That's the soonest they will receive it. If you take it sooner than that, they won't get it. For example, if your ERD, they're giving you an ERD for that container or vessel for today. If you take it to the port yesterday, they won't get it. They say ERD is today, tomorrow. You have to go that day and after, not before, because they won't get it. Cutoff, latest they will receive the container. Let's say you go to your flight, right? You have a flight at 10 p.m. You arrive at 10:30. Will they accept you? No, they will say the cutoff is done. Your flight is gone. Go book another flight. Right? So this is the latest. The latest they will receive your container.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
You want to make sure that your export shipment goes to the port between the ERD and cutoff. Between that time, they will accept the container. Before ERD, they won't. After cutoff, they won't. Just every time you get confused with export, just imagine an airplane, imagine that it's the same exact thing, but different, situation. So this is everything that you need to know about an export shipment, okay? Most of the things import shipments, but I wanted to give you general information on the export side as well, okay? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the general work that we do, okay? So let me explain this way. I don't think we need to do this. Okay, so what we need to do sorry, my bad. Okay, so what we need to do is that we need to make sure that we have the full operation. I want you to understand exactly what happens in our operation. So I'm going to tell you step by step what happens, and then you can later on you'll realize, oh, this is why it's happening. Oh, this is what it happened. So in our company, we have different departments and we have different divisions. Okay, we have dispatch division, which the dispatch is the team members that are in communication with the drivers, right? They tell them, this is where you have to go. This is where you have to come back. This is what you have to do. Then we have a customer service team. The customer service team is in contact with the customers. Like customer says, what's happening here? When are you going to come there? Where are you going to go? Get this container. This is your new container. This is all, everything that the customer says on the emails, it's a customer service team member that takes care of that, okay? Then the dispatcher and the CSR team communicate to make sure that the information from the customer are related to the drivers and everything works smoothly here, okay? Then we have the accounting department, which does accounting, obviously, right? So that customers, they do invoicing, they bill the customers, get paid, and etc. That goes on for that. Now, in the operations side, which is what I want you to know, this is exactly what happens. As I told you, a customer comes to us and says, well, okay, so what is your container number? I'm sorry, he comes to us and says, I have 5 containers that I want to deliver to Fontana, right? Can you do that? I say, well, they first ask you, what's your rate? Our sales team goes on the email and provides them with the rate. Then they say, okay, we accept the rate. Can you handle it? And at that point, we say, okay, what is the ETA? What is your estimated time of arrival? Like these 5 containers going to Fontana, for example, when are they coming? Do you have the container number so I can check the information on them, check their size, check their terminals, etc. And then we realize that we have capacity, okay? And then we say, yes, we do have capacity. Please send the delivery orders. They do send the delivery orders at that time, and we put the delivery orders into the system called Profit Tools. Profit Tools is our application, our app that we use, our software to run this operation, okay? So we tell them, okay, give us the deal. We get the deal. This customer service team member gets the deal. I don't know if you saw in that email, it says 1 new container was well received and confirmed in the previous email I showed you. He accepts the delivery order. Another team member that's in charge of data entry puts those information into Profit Tools and creates 1 shipment. What are the information he puts or she puts is container number, the size, the terminal, the location it's delivering to. All the information goes into the 1 shipment. And they create this shipment. It's called, for example, number 41298. That's the shipment number, right? These containers are normally on the vessel. They're still on the ocean. We normally get them when they're still on the ocean. So we have like 400 shipments in the system, right? Another member, which is from the dispatch team, will check the status of these containers on a daily basis. How? He goes to the terminal and looks at every single one of these containers to see if they have become available. Okay, when we say available, means the container has arrived, the terminal in a specific location, and is now available for us, the trucker, to go grab it, to go get it.
Okay.
This process is called availability check. Availability check, meaning that 400 containers that we have in the software, we check them every morning to see which one is available.
Okay.
Availability check. One of the team members does it. So now, let's say out of 400, today we do availability check and we have 40 containers available. Okay?
Okay.
We already have all the information. We know what terminal they are at. We know what size they are. We know what the container number is. We know where they have to go and everything. So another team member of us, that is the scheduler, goes and starts scheduling these containers. Okay? What do we mean by scheduling? The scheduling means he goes to each of these shipments, sees where it's delivering to. They call the facility or email the facility and says, I have this container, I want to deliver to you. When can you accept it? And he says, bring it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Okay? Then he books a terminal appointment. He books a terminal appointment. He puts the information in the system. It says, okay, terminal appointment for this container. We're going to pull it tonight at 8 p.m. because that's our terminal appointment. We're delivering it tomorrow at 10 a.m. This is scheduled. Okay, anywhere you have a question, please ask me. Okay, I want you to.
Okay, sure.
So he puts the terminal appointment in the Profit Tools system. He puts the delivery appointment. Now we know that this container is supposed to be pulled tonight at 8, 10, delivered tomorrow at 10. Okay?
Okay.
So he schedules all the available containers every single day. Right?
Right.
The rest of the team and the dispatch is responsible to make sure that this schedule is followed accordingly. Okay, they send, for example, they send for the driver that has to pull the container tonight at 10. They send the driver. They say, this driver, this is your information. You have to go get this container. Tomorrow you're going to deliver it at 10 a.m. So they have to make sure that all of that he has scheduled, scheduler has scheduled, is being instructed to the drivers and followed up to make sure that is all 40 containers are scheduled. Then the next day, again, availability check, 40 new containers available, schedule them, and make sure that the drivers pull them and deliver them to the customers. Okay? Then once a shipment is done, meaning the empty container has been returned back to the port, that's when a shipment is done. Okay?
Okay.
It's the shipment in software, we give it to accounting, and accounting does all the billing, numbers, how much we have to charge chassis, how much we have to charge, etc., for delivery and etc. And then we send it to the customer, they pay us, and that's over with that shipment. So this is the entire cycle. Okay. So depending on where we need help and where your qualities are, we will assign you different tasks. I might say, you know what, Hassan, I need you to help with availability check. Meaning that each day you have to look at all these containers, you have to make sure which one are available, which one are still on hold, which one are that, and then we go from there.
Okay.
Okay, this is just an example, okay? But I'm telling you how the entire process works. Now, it might be confusing right now, but you have to look at this video, start looking at all these information so that we are ready for our next video. What we're going to do in our next video is that I'm going to listen to what your questions are, if you have any, and then answer your questions. If not, we're going to start looking at how we can check the terminal information for each of these terminals. Okay, so what I want to do from today until next day, next session that we're going to have, I want you to go on each of those terminals, the terminals I told you, and I want you to bookmark them. Everyone, bookmark it, save it and bookmark it. So you have like 13 pages, and I'm going to give you the username and password for each that you go and you log in, you save your password so you have it ready. And then when I start the next session, I will teach you how you can get an information on a container when you log into the website of the terminal. It's very easy, very simple. Okay, you log in.
Sorry.
Absolutely. They give you log in, they give you information, and you go from there. Okay.
Okay.
But you do not want to give that information now because you'll get confused. I want you to go over this video, take your time, go over it, spend some time learning and Googling and doing everything for yourself to understand it, and then we'll touch base again to see what your questions are in this regard. Okay. Now, do you have any questions for me, Hassan?
Oh, I don't have any question now. I will ask you next session.
Absolutely, no problem at all. I'm going to share this video with you, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, sure.